All right, today is November 7th, day 7. However, you're doing this challenge, we're on day 7. We're finishing day 7. So today is about assessing, checking in. I know I've asked you throughout this, how are you feeling? And hopefully you're journaling day by day and just getting some great insights about your habits, about your thoughts, about things that are working and not working, and really doing it all with a scientist mindset, just noticing. Don't worry about having to judge or bring in shame. This might be a great thing to journal on. If you notice another voice in your head that pops up and says, "Oh, there you go again. You're making some bad choices." Some notice things like that and be like, "What the heck is that? Where does that come from?" Ask questions, and your mind is really fabulous at giving you answers that you might not have ever considered before. So, allowing the journaling time to give you more insights, ask more questions. So, let's get back to the assessment. So, what are you assessing? Let's go back to where we very first started, and you created some goals and then some actions that were going to support those goals. So, actions like you are going to eat, more whole foods, you are going to get more steps, you are going to get better sleep. How are those things going? And just, that's why tracking these things is great and giving them number scores so you can take out the emotions as much as possible. Just start noticing the patterns. Week 1, you're not going to have a lot of patterns yet, but week by week as we go, you're going to get more and more data points and you're going to notice things. So I don't know what you're going to notice, but you're going to get information about how your mind works, different cravings that you have that might get more or less over time. I know for me, like in terms of cravings, the more I eat healthfully and do something like this 90-day challenge, the less I crave crappy processed food. It's just something I notice, and I start really craving like more nutrient dense foods. Like I see like these, squashes and really great salads. I'm like, wow, that looks really good. That's what I want in my body because it's going to really fuel me and help me feel better for the long term. All right. So that's what we've got on today. So take some time. And if you want to have like a separate area in your journal, you can what's that word? Take what you wrote before as you were assessing at the beginning. And if you want to create a separate area just to track those metrics, so you create, a little spreadsheet type scenario in your journal, you can do that. You can actually create a spreadsheet if you're that kind of person who likes to see it nice and neat. I get that. So assess. Something I mentioned that I am trying out for this 90 days is the ZozoFit app. Zero affiliation. I'm just trying it out. It was really interesting. So I took a shot. So what it does is like it has you take a picture, essentially an image, and then it has you turn into a full clockwise. So it has you starting at 12 and then 1, 2, 3. So it's getting like a full 360 of your body. And it then gives you a breakdown. The first time you do it, it shows you like the measurements for all these different parts of your body. So you're not having to go in with a tape. So I did it again today. And it was really interesting. I'm like, it seemed pretty spot on. I did just like a couple spot checks with the tape to see if it seemed accurate. And it's pretty darn close, which is amazing to not have to actually tape everything and to have this app that can take a picture and you can compare side by side. So it showed for me a reduction in my body fat of 0.08%. Not very much, but like it's a win. I'm moving in the right direction. It shows me my posture. It shows me my waist to hip ratio. And if you're not familiar with waist to hip ratio, you want to keep it like if you measure your waist and then your hip and you divide one over the other. For women, we want it at 0.85 or lower. 0.85 or higher starts showing a higher risk of type 2 diabetes. So Pretty important stuff. So I am right at that line right now, not good. So that's a big goal for me. Even though I show like as less being less than average for like my BMI, which it tells me that as well. Um, I don't care about average. I know I'm more than I should be. I know that I'm more than what is optimal for me. So do that for you as well. Again, if it shows that you're higher than average at some point, you take it, you decide what to do with that. It is your information. You are your N of one. You decide what that information means to you. And again, no shame, no judgment. Me even sharing this, like, it's taken a little bit to even be able to share this. I had to work through my own inner self-judgment and criticism, and I'm at a point where I can share it. And I just take it as information, and hopefully you find it helpful as well. Okay, assessment. That's your goal for today, period, end, stop. I did want to share something that I thought was really interesting as an aside. I've mentioned that I have some injuries I'm working through with my knee and my Achilles. So I've been spending some time at the physical therapist's office. And I'm always just like such a nerd looking for patterns and seeing what I notice about the people who are coming in. And a lot of people who are coming in are like fresh right off an injury. For me, my injury was back over the summer, so I've had some time for a lot of the pain to subside. The worst of it has healed, and I realized I'm still not getting better, so I need help with the final parts of healing. And so a lot of these people coming in like are still like limping and a lot of clear pain. But what I notice is metabolic health. I can see that many of these people, not 100%, but a lot likely have unhealthy metabolisms. So I see women who are coming in with like very little muscle mass, people who are coming in with a lot of excess body fat, especially belly fat. These things are very likely contributing to why they're there in the physical therapist's office. Inflammation and pain, just being one, because it's going to make it harder for you to heal if you're inflamed. So this is a huge conversation, but basically I want to get to the point that in this 90 days, making these choices for better foods, better movement, better sleep, staying hydrated, reducing stress, all of that is going to support your metabolic health. So you're not only setting yourself up for like 90 days of feeling better, you're setting yourself up for a lifetime of feeling better and hopefully staying out of that physical therapist office. Or if you're in there like me, you just need help with a bit of it. A man I saw today, he sounds like he's in chronic pain, and my heart just really broke for him. And I wondered, is he learning about nutrition? He's clearly there, he's learning about some exercises he can do. But where is education failing us? Where are the gaps in our ability to stay healthy? I personally believe a big reason for why we're in our country, our world, but really the country being the United States, why we're in a mess, health-wise, at least speaking, is because of the way marketing happens and the way advertisement happens. It's like, it's made to feel like fast food is the normal. Fast food is what we should all be eating, and everyone's grabbing some fast food every day because it's just what we do. And if you look at us versus other, even Western countries, look at Europe and so many other countries, this is not the case. If they're grabbing food, it's a much better quality food. It's being cooked in a much better quality oil. It's a much better quality, base ingredient that they're working with that hasn't been tainted by genetic modification or a lot of pesticides being sprayed on crops. It really hurts to know that there's so many people that could be helped just by changing some laws and regulations to make sure our food was healthier and more nutritious as a baseline. If we prioritized people over profits. And so while I personally don't have much control over laws passed and how farmers grow their crops, I understand they need to compete with some of the big dogs, and it can be really a uphill grind for them. It's no judgment. It's just frustrating. And so what we can do is we can take control where we can take control. And as I've talked about in other videos in this challenge, one thing that we can control is what we don't put in our bodies. So for example, not putting those processed foods in our bodies, taking time to fast and literally putting nothing in our bodies. But that's triggering this old caveman healing mechanism that we have inside, helping us heal and get back to a more healthy metabolism just by eating nothing, by putting nothing in our bodies. It's amazing. So we have control over that. So what can we control? We can control our movements. Even if we're sick or injured, there are ways we can still be mindful of movement and doing what we can to keep our bodies as strong as we can at any time. And then foods, I know I'm very sensitive and aware that some people don't live in places where they have easy access to food. And, that's where I wish some laws would change and there were a healthier baseline. I wish corporations would change. I wish other laws would change that would allow it to be easier for grocery stores to be everywhere, for fresh food markets to be everywhere, and for it to be accessible and affordable for everyone. So that said, some people just have to make do with the best that they can. So I think there's a lot of opportunity for education on how to make do with whatever you do have available. How can you make the best choices? And that's something I think we can control as well. Like in any given situation, if you're on a road trip, I know for me it was often easy to just grab the bag of thing off, at the gas station. And it was usually a bag of chips, probably something that's not even a real chip, like a potato chip. It would be something like a Dorito or Cheeto or something, that has the something that also had like the cheese and so many things that were just like about that were feeding an addiction versus really nourishing me and feeding my hunger. Yesterday, my goal was for a 22-hour fast. I did Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I did at least a 22-hour fast each of those days. And yesterday, I was at about 15 and a half hours, and I was like, I'm just really hungry. But I didn't take the time to go leave work because I hadn't brought anything. I was at the office and I hadn't brought anything with me to feed for good food. So I had a couple bars that they're relatively good bars. They're like Whole Foods. They're okay. So I ate one and I was like, I'm still hungry. So I ate another and I was like, I'm still hungry. I was like, okay, well, they sell some nut mixes at the office. So I grabbed a couple of those and I ate just like a bunch of they're relatively good, but not fuel, not like what I would eat if I were planning ahead, if I were making choices, like choosing good beans or good quality meats or cheeses, dairy, things like that. If I were planning, if I were having the forethought to go ahead and plan for fueling my body, it would have been an entirely different experience. But as it was, I kind of felt worse for having broken my fast with those foods. So just thinking about these people who, and being on a car trip or being in transit, what can you do to think in advance to how to prepare yourself for success? So I know, especially as the holidays are coming up, as we've got that happening later in the month, what are some things you can start thinking about now to set yourself up for success? So how could you plan to bring some of your own foods to different events you're going to? Or how could you fast in advance to kind of prepare your body to be around people who might be bringing in sickness or eating food that might not be the best? How can you support your body to be its best before and after, so you overall, even if it's like a down day or a down moment, overall we want you on a trajectory of improvement, feeling better, feeling healthier. So start keeping that in the back of your mind. That's a great thing for your journal as well. I know I went off on a bit of a tangent there. I just really, my heart hurts for so many people that are struggling, who just don't know about what else is out there and that they can make these choices like we're making these choices. So if you resonate with this, please share these videos, share this 90-day challenge with someone you love, a friend, family member. It is never too late to join. Even if you join us on day 80, do the rest of the 90 days with us, and then you can go back to day 1. Do it however you want. This is like, I'm not telling you how to live your life, but we want you here. We want you feeling your best. We want you part of the community. So you've got this. Share your thoughts, comments, your goals, your assessments. What are you noticing after 1 week? Share those down in the comments, and we will see you soon.